That's my question. All right. So for backstory with Torrie Parker, 31, 32 years ago, he was accused and eventually convicted for armed robbery, along with some other people who were incarcerated as well in a armed robbery in Oklahoma.
A jury heist.
Jury heist, right? Jury heist. So he was in LA, got extradited to Oklahoma. Now, 510 years, Gwen, Connie. How does somebody get 510 years in prison when I read the case, they had no evidence against them and just the confession of a jailhouse snitch? How does that happen in any state, but particularly in Oklahoma? Gwen.
It happens because convictions, particularly back then, were racialized. And so, listen, first you're starting with an adversarial system, right? Then you pile racism on top of that. Then, in particular, speaking to the 510 years, they had zero evidence on this man. He had two trials, actually. The first trial was a hung jury because he was in California at the time that this happened.
Yeah.
But the way they gave him the sentence was because they charged him, it was one incident. So they charged him with one robbery, and then they charged him for robbery against every customer in the store.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, I know.
You're saying, hold on. This man wasn't even in the state of Oklahoma at the time.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
He was in California, yet he was extradited to Oklahoma based on the
jailhouse snitch
confession of a jailhouse snitch. They extradited him to Oklahoma, put him on trial, and he's convicted. I mean, that sounds unbelievable there, Gwen.
But let me tell you the twist. He was in jail for something petty, Torrie, in California.
Okay.
Two federal agents came and questioned him based on this jailhouse snitch, right? So he waived his right not to be extradited. They never had a warrant for him. So he's going like most innocent people do. They will try to vindicate their innocence. They'll say, okay, well, I didn't do anything. I can go and tell my story and be done with it. And didn't happen that way.
Now, let me ask you, Connie, why did this guy who fingered Torrie, why Torrie? I mean, did he know him? Did they have a previous relationship? How did he know to name this particular man?
Well, Mike, let me speak on this. What you have in jail was called dudes that sit around and try to get leniency on their sentence by telling lies on the next person. And a prosecutor put them up to it or whatever, say, can you get some evidence on Torrie and sit up there and lie and say, well, he said this and he said that, you know what I'm saying? And Gwen can speak on this, that's what happens sometimes in jail and it's unjustly, and this happens all the time. This is not the first time this happens. It happens all the time to people, period.
The crazy thing, though, here is that when he came, because they knew there was no evidence, there was no fingerprint evidence. Now, let me tell you this. How does a jewelry store get heisted for $1 million worth of jewels, but there's no video? Come on.
So there was no video. They
have
surveillance cameras.
They had surveillance cameras when they filed that insurance claim, I bet.
Well, Gwen, Torrie told me, I talked to Torrie today. Torrie told me it was video evidence, and they showed the video.
No, they just didn't present it, though.
They didn't present it because he's not there.
He's not on the video. That's
not on the video.
Yeah.
So why? Okay, let me ask Connie this. Now, how does this happen in a state that you served and you were a representative of, a state senator there? How does this happen inside that particular state? What we're hearing right now.
And Aubrey said, I keep looking down. Y'all talking about so much. I'm taking so many notes. And so, yes, to respond to that one piece is the complicity that potentially goes on between the district attorney and the powers that be in any given situation. The rich, the powerful. It's kind of like we had Bob Macy at the time. Was Bob Macy the DA at the time, Gwen?
Yeah.
Yes. Notorious executioner, cheat, corrupt, person DA you have ever seen?
Who is Ray Elliott?
He's the judge.
Oh, he's
No,
the
no,
judge.
no, no.
Okay.
He
So,
was the
so you got
prosecutor
the
at the time
judge, you got the judge, the DA, the ineffective assistance of counsel of the public defender system, right?
Yeah.
And even if a person has private counsel and they can't afford the right kind, you know, money is behind all of it here. Wouldn't you say, Gwen?
I would, and I would say particularly in Torrie's case that Ray Elliott was actually an assistant district attorney at the time. He later became a judge because he was able to make so many convictions in a law and order state. You know, he could, you know, magically, along with others, not just him, convict people without evidence. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We as a country treat people in the criminal justice system better if they're poor or rich and guilty than if they're poor and innocent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, it just goes down like that. I mean, we don't have enough time to talk about the, y'all told me not to use the F word, so.
We can get away with it. Here's the thing, though. We're going to talk about a lot about this, and we don't want to stay on this particular case right now because you talked about the defense attorneys, and sometimes when you have these defense attorneys not doing their jobs, trying to plea out people, sometimes whatnot. If you don't have proper defense, there are going to be a lot of innocent men or non-guilty men, I should say, or women that are in prison. So did Torrie's lawyer do his job in this case?
Well, let me just say this right quick. You're right on point in terms of the types of sentencing schemes that go on in Oklahoma that enable those kinds of outcomes. So plea bargaining is a way to take away people's due process rights. You either accept a plea or you go to court, jury trial, and they throw the book at you. So people opt out with a plea bargain, even when they're innocent, right? Another scheme is consecutive concurrent sentencing. I'm not sure how he got to 510 years. They could have run all of those, however many cases. Okay, but I'm just saying that's part of a background scheme. The sentencing schemes are the things that enable a lot of the corruption that happens here.
Mm-hmm. All right, so two other people were convicted with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did they say that Torrie was involved in this jury heist?
No.
So no one else testified against him.
No. And again, they offered him when he first got here from California a 15-year sentence because they knew there was no evidence. He turned the offer down. That's a cardinal. Back then was the cardinal sin of a black man not to accept this, you know, gracious offer of a plea. And so, you know, there was some vindictiveness, I would guess. But as a matter of Oklahoma law, if you go to trial and you're tried on multiple counts, all those counts have to be run consecutively, meaning, of course, back to back. So that's how you got the 510.
Okay, hold that thought.
Mike, to answer your question, I know all the guys that got sentenced. One is out, you know what I mean? And one, it got extradited back to California. He's up in Folsom prison out here, and he's still doing time.